Peace be still. Oh, still. It's recording already. I have to edit it. All right. Okay. I like it. Yeah. Why oh my God. No, we're gonna be right by time.
Is that too much background noise with the sound?
It feels loud.
Can we call that back? We all know that, so that only got it done. We appreciate it.
There's a 4. Just turn it off. It'll be all right.
Oh yeah, that thing loud. Hello and welcome to I Am Shatoria Podcast, Season 4. So, if you're watching us, we're set up a little different. We're actually on vacation in California. So, you see the ladies sitting here. We in our semi-PJs just chilling. But if you're listening to us on all of our wonderful different places to listen to us at, just get a visual of a vacation in California with ladies just sitting around hanging out. So, that's what we're doing today. So we're going to have a freelance conversation today. The ladies is like, what questions we have, and it's just going to be open discussion today, okay? So don't be alarmed because we are really just relaxing. We're our last day of vacation, and so as we are in season 4, there's been a lot of changes since we started I Am Shatoria 2 years ago. And with the ladies that I'm sitting here with, you actually heard all of them on the podcast in the past. Now that I think about it, everybody's been on it. So, but no, we coming to you guys this time on our vacation. But one of the topics I really want to talk about today, actually it's 2, is grief and guilt. And a lot of people look at grief as death, in a physical manner, not realizing it's also a spiritual matter too. And then guilt. Guilt is a little different because sometimes we feel guilty about many, many different things, but just go about it a different way. So I kind of want to hit on both of those because as we're getting into Thanksgiving, a lot of issues are coming up with families. I feel like that with families, we have such high expectations and then it doesn't go that way. So we've having to learn how to deal with that. And the holidays are always the roughest times. So we're going to start off with grief. I would say 2020 was definitely a hit for many of us as COVID came in and we lost a lot of members. I would have to say, I think the grief for me the most was in 2017 when I lost my grandmother. I had a complete change and I didn't speak about that change, but physically, I lost weight and everything else, but mentally, I lost it. Do anybody want to speak on their grief and how they dealt with it?
I think I can go. So my grief wasn't so much death. It was more so like the relationship that I have with my sister. So me and my baby sister were about almost 10 years apart. But it's just the way that in life that where she's at right now in her life that so much brings grief to me because I see so much potential in her and so much things that she can do, but where she's at right now, she can't see it. And for me, it pains me to see where she's at. It brings me to a place of me trying to help, but I can't. So it brings a lot of grief to me because I'm like, I'm the older sister, like I'm the protector of my siblings, and me not being able to do anything about it, it really hurt. But one thing I did have to learn was I can't fix this one. This is not my fight to fix. So it took a while for me to realize that. So now I'm really in a place of, okay, we're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna do my part as the big sister to be there, for you to give you advice when you need it. but I can't be the one to physically do it for you because you have to want to do it yourself. So my grief is not so much death, but more so relationship. I think you're next.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't recognize where I've suffered grief just yet. I'm still currently in that process of working through the different emotions. Because for me, I don't show a lot of emotion, right? And I recognize now that I associate emotions and crying with weakness. And I can't show that because then not only weak, but I feel that someone is going to take advantage of that because they have in the past. And so therefore I have to hold that here, deep within, and I don't let it out.
Like me, like I ain't crying.
I'm not gonna do it. Because if I do, then you will know where to poke and stab.
Like you got the best of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm working on that.
That's honestly though. That's straight honesty for you to say, hey, I'm working on this, because a lot of us in these days and times, if you really think about how the world has been going, we don't want to open up because it make us open up to the world. Social media has changed so much to where you see people now crying out for help, and we're not so used to responding to the help to where we're like, wait. I think when we was all together, I read that meme that said a parent saying, hey, I need help, and the family was like, oh, you got this. And in the end was like, no, I don't. That's why I'm telling you I need help before we get to an end of where we are literally grieving because someone took it into their own hands to figure out how I'm going to get to this next step. And unfortunately, it's sometimes taking their own life and everything else because they don't know how to express it because we don't listen anymore.
Or it's even, I am the one to always provide the help, and there's no one there for me. No
I like
one-
how everybody said, yo, that's the one.
There's no one there to catch me if I fall. but
Yeah.
I'm there to catch everyone else.
And you feel lonely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You feel lonely because it's like that trust mechanism when you go back and for us it's like, wait.
I think for me it's when you ask for help and you tell them this is what I need help with, but they do the opposite.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like
It
asking,
keeps
or
prevents you from doing
it
it.
says, or they constantly remind you, oh, I helped you
Yep.
with this, or I did this for you.
Yeah, I don't need no
It's
reminder.
like
That's
I was
it for
already
me.
learning. Don't dig on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Tasha.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, my brief is jail. And it was 2017 and 19 because my kid father died in 2017. They aunt turned around in 2019 and died. She was the one that was always there. So, and now my kids are suffering from it. They do.
How do you like tell people how you guys, because you definitely try to make sure your kids remember and you allow them to express how they feel, you know. How do you maneuver that? Because a lot of us just don't know how to do that, especially with kids. Because death is becoming more common lately with younger kids than when it was when we was growing up.
So what I do or like did, at first I thought I was pushing it on them too much. So I would take it to the grave every now and then. And then they told me, because that's what I love about any kid, not just mine, any kid, these kids this day more open with what they say. So what I did was let them tell me when they want to go to the grave or when they want to, do something. Like died on the night, and once I was reminded them every night
Yeah.
Their auntie died on the 30th. I remind them on the 30th. So now I don't do that. If you remember, you remember. But what my youngest son, he just recently talked about him without crying. And then so I told him, I said, he didn't even realize that he didn't cry. And so I was like, after, he finished his whole topic talking about it, and I said, Gabe, I said, you know what? I said, you did good this time. I said, you didn't cry when you talked about it. And he didn't even realize that, so.
I like how you
Just
recognize that.
yeah. So I just let them tell me instead of me keep on reminding them because they buried him on Valentine's. So I'll remind them on Valentine's. I'll remind them, just let it be free. Like my daughter, though, she wants to do counseling. I'm gonna let her do counseling. Because in her mind, it's like he left her and he didn't leave you. He didn't have a choice. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's it different.
Sometimes it feels like
They left, yeah.
even though you kind of know that they were taken from you, it's like.
The only reason I knew that because she wrote a school paper. She wrote a school paper as if he made left. So like she wrote a school paper to hide and she read the paper to me.
You know, it's funny because a friend of mine, she lost her husband and her son 6 months apart. But something that she told me, she said in her head, she knew her husband had passed. She knew. She knew her husband had passed. But her son, she had an expectation of him walking back in the door. And her mom said, her mom told her, he's not coming back. Like, he's gone. And she said when she had that realization that, no, he's dead, his ashes are sitting right there, she said it hit her. That's when she grieved.
I think it's because too, like, having had that person there with you all the time, like you can't even fathom that they're not there anymore. So sometimes I'm not gonna say it's more out of repetition, but it's like this expectation, like this person's gonna be here with me. They're here, like you're expecting them to come home at 5 o'clock, and it's 5 o'clock, and this person's not there. So, and then you don't want to come to that realization, like they're not coming back anymore. So it's a mind thing as well, like. But once you do realize that grieving, you can properly grieve.
I'm about to say it doesn't.
Yeah.
You guys think that holds up a grieving process?
It does.
Yeah.
I think it do.
And it's like with my kid, they every time I see her picture, I think I'm over it, but then I see her picture, I'm sorry.
That feeling never goes away.
No.
It's not a feeling that, every time you see a picture or something, you hear something that reminds you of the person, you smell something that reminds you of the person. So there's going to be something there, but allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself to grieve, allowing yourself to be in that moment, I think it helps. It does help. So, like, honestly, like, I don't know what I would do if any, like, someone close to me. I've had, battle buddies and stuff like that have passed, but yeah, like someone like super, I don't know. I say if my mom go, it's gonna be a problem. Like if I'm still in the military, go ahead and get me out because I'm not safe. Like,
but it's funny that you said it because we question death sometimes. Like, well, God, why? In our mindset, we know somebody we think they're gonna stay forever. Like, look here, you let them live 900 years in the beginning. I don't understand why we're gonna do that now. But I like, because this is something me and my husband spoken about. So with my mother's death, I didn't realize her death because 2014 was hard. I had my mother's death, my ex-fiance death, my battle buddy military, MJ, her death, all in a span before I had Janae. And what I did not realize was God was preparing me for the things to come and to walk people through those close family members' death. Because I'm thinking, man, why I'm going through A, B, C, and D, and God was like, because this is preparing you for other people that's about to walk through this, people who's coming up with cancer and preparing people for what's ahead. And in my head, you know how we always say, but this happened, I'm going A, B, C, and D. I realized as I started to lose more people, I had more peace over time, which just sounds crazy to some. but I have more peace because my thing is about this one is, you know, we know their spirit, we know they right, we know where they're going. And honestly, sometimes I be looking like, well, Jesus, you look more better in heaven than it is on this earth. But I've come to the realization that, okay, we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay, God, but are we really ready to go home? No. Like, that's what I say now. Was they so prepared to really go home? Because my one goal in my life is I know I'm gonna leave this earth, but I want to leave this earth where my grave is empty. And what I mean by that is that I've utilized all my gifts and everything else. I don't want to leave here with a full grave at all whatsoever. I want to do what I'm called to do. So when I leave here, I've done my calling and my time is done. So I'm a little different now with death because God has prepared me because I've seen a lot of it, even being in the military. I've seen a lot. I prepared my soul to know, okay, let me pray for these people. But again, I'm, you know.
And for me, we said at peace, to me, after 2 deaths, the last 2 deaths, it felt like I felt numb to death. Like I know it happened, but I can't even grieve with you because I'm numb. Like, and I don't
Because you ain't
know.
really good. That's
So for me, I would say in 2020, watching females, role models for, aunts, specifically the females in my family, watching them always figure it out, always have an answer, always having to be that superwoman or be strong. I didn't know how to grieve, so I had to learn how to grieve, but also understand that, sometimes you have to let people go and grieve.
yeah.
It's another form of love. Like when we talk about tough love, like that's really what it is, and it's by far it's not easy. But I've learned that sometimes you have to let go of some of these people that we care about or we want to do, like you talked about, your sister. I mean, my sister had to do her own growing. I had to lose a husband. He had some growing to do. My own daughter, like I had to go through all these things and still am working through a lot of those things. But every time I lost somebody else, I gained somebody else. So even though I lost them, I found somebody else. So now I don't just have somebody on my left, but I got my left and my right. So, kind of hold me up and remind me that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's it's a process. Every day. Definitely a process.
No, it's fine. I think for me, it's I think I'm still in that grieving stage. After losing my grandma and of course going through a divorce. It's been a lot of grief, but it's also been guilt too because I think with grief comes guilt, especially when it came down to filing for divorce. And even though I wanted my marriage to work and I fought for it, I still felt guilty because I'm like, here I am breaking down everything that I built, that we built together. And how is it going to not only affect me, but how is it going to affect my children? Are they going to be upset with mommy because mommy had to create this separation? So I carried that with me for quite some time. And thank God I'm past it because it was beginning to destroy me. I'm like, there has to be something that has to change. And with me filing for divorce and going through it, and of course, seeing a therapist, it got me to this point where I'm at now. Happily engaged, moving on with my life. As far as grieving the loss of my grandmother, I still grieve her. I miss her. Because like you said, you never think that they're gonna. I'm learning that, sorry.
It's okay.
You know how you pull strength from other people? I pulled a lot of my strength from her. And the thing that I feel like where my strength was tested when I had to do her makeup for her surgery. And even though she was not breathing, I still felt her strength. Because there's no way I was going to be able to do that without her presence still being there. And I think that's what keeps me still going, is knowing that physically she's not here, but I'm still pulling from her strength.
Yeah, it's that spirit.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people forget that, you know, even though the body is not here, that spirit is still here. And people don't realize that the good and the bad spirit, they stay behind, especially depending on what your energy is drawing from, what your heart really desires. And a lot of people refuse to get help because it becomes like it's an addiction. You don't want to face the realness of it. A lot of us have lived off of grandma prayers, and all those things. A lot of us remember being at grandmama's houses and stuff of that nature. But a lot of us has grown up in a community and a village of, this is family, this is blood, they're better than the ones outside of the door, keep the secrets in here. And we have so many dysfunctional families, so where I would say a part of my guilt came from not speaking up. To be 40 years old and not speaking up until 2 years ago, you know, that's been the hardest part because it's, I posted on my Facebook that one day is that I'm loud, I'm colorful, and I'm bold. And what a lot of people don't know is, you know, when I told people when I was in school that I hated life, it was like, I can't tell you was smiling. I didn't know how else to be. And so my guilt was just not being open and honest, but it was also fear. It was the vulnerability of, you know, being judged. And I was already being judged, but mine was being judged by family. You know what I'm saying? To where I'm getting it now anyway.
Yeah.
But my guilt came from some days I felt like I didn't protect the people that needed protected. You know, I don't regret it now, by no means. But I used to, in my head, really think my siblings are the way they are right now because of this, and this. Could have done something different. Maybe if I spoken up a little more. However, now where I'm at is, it wouldn't have done no good anyway because they wasn't my assignment in the first place. You know what I mean? We all have a different destiny. So, you know, guilt plays a part also, especially in grief, like you said, is that guilt also make us make some decisions that we later on really will regret because we made decisions out of emotions. I was reading something and it was talking about forgiveness, and I don't even know why it got me going there. But something that it said is forgiveness is a legal transaction, not an emotional one. Legal. Because that is something that's written by God. That because forgiveness is not for us. It's not for them, it's for us. And when I read that and I said, ooh, it's a legal transaction, like, wait a minute, Jesus. Binding. And not an emotional one, because technically, emotionally, if you guys really think about, if you're willing to tell what you've done in an emotional state that you're like, ooh, if I was sane, I wouldn't have done that. Anybody got one? You know, I
Stand on it. I said it.
said what I said.
And I'm going to stick beside me.
Everybody like, nope. At least when you smack your teeth, that means you got something. Because you so smack your teeth to turn.
She said, what was the question?
A decision that you make out of emotions, not thinking straight.
Ooh, honey. Oh, God.
How
much time we got?
But you know, I made this decision because he was looking real good, not realizing I just got out of
That's a lot of
that.
you, like, when you start.
Oh, God.
I'm an analytical person, so I think about all of it before I do it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Before I say it. So if I do it, I meant to do it.
Ooh. You sound like that person, like, I'll ask for forgiveness, like,
Intentional.
yeah. See, mine definitely wasn't intentional. Mine's literally because it felt right at the moment, and I was moved by my emotions and not logic.
I mean, to
As do I. It's more logical versus emotional.
And see, I'm definitely a sensitive being. So my emotions always come, and then I regret later. I'm like, dang it, that was my emotions. Crap. Now I'm like, no, cool beans. Yeah.
the best way to be cut somebody is by saying
Yeah. Period. I stopped talking.
that part.
There's no reason for me to continue to repeat myself and continue to say what I need to say. If I've already said it, I've said it. If you do not respond and or continue to do what I've asked you not to do, then you didn't give a damn about me.
Okay.
So I will say this. So one of the things
I get.
Yeah, I'm methodical about it. Like I think about it. There is a process. I do not talk a lot. Exactly.
Do you know me?
I look, I watch, I listen, I observe, I feel the energy and the vibes. And if I need to say something, I will. You choose whether to act on what I've said or not.
Yeah.
And however you choose to divide that line, that's not on me, but that part.
Yeah, I got a lot of backlash for that. Oh, you're too forward, you're too blunt, you're too honest. And like, well, what way do you want me to be?
You want me to tell you the truth?
This is me. Accept me for who I am.
That's my truth.
This is me.
I try to cut back, but when you cut back, you holding in who you really
Exactly.
are. Something you don't really.
And I did that all through school, like, and still into adulthood. I'm 43, and I'm starting to completely give people a more full picture of who I am. They think they have known me, but they don't. Because they have never taken the opportunity to really talk to me and listen. They hear to respond. They don't listen to me. So I'm talking to myself. And so I stopped talking. There's no need for me to talk to you because you just want to respond to what I'm saying. And you're not listening to what I'm saying because there's something behind what I'm saying and how I'm saying.
well, good. This is awesome.
Shit, that's who I need to talk to when I was going through what I was going through. Yeah. If you understand, she would understand where I was coming from. Like, look, what I said. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Somebody had to feel what I'm just saying.
So how do you guys feel? So you guys know I'm really big in the forgiveness complex. I study it because I think it's an important part of our life. And so I hear a lot of people say, well, the Old Testament says this. Okay, what does the New Testament say? Well, I'm not worried about that. No. What does the New Testament say? That part. So the Old Testament talks about how, it's an eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth and so on. However, the New Testament, they have a conversation with Jesus, and you can find it in Exodus and in Matthew, but they spoke about when Peter said, well, how many times should I forgive him? And he said 7. No, he said 7. And God said 7. I mean, Jesus said 70 times 7. And in reality, that's 490 times of forgiveness. And we know some people are way past that limit.
It's not, every time you gotta forgive them, you take a number away. It's not, 190.
You want that number.
It's not sound like.
Yeah, you want it.
I'm counting.
You count down.
Like, listen, you almost hit your limit. You got one more time, and I'm snapping back, and I'm popping off.
See, but you know what? So I asked that question because doing
Maybe 3. Sorry, go ahead.
you bottom 2. You bottom 2. You bottom 2. Yeah, you a 1, but you bottom 2. But I will say this. So during the I Am Forgiveness to Freedom Retreat, Winifred was speaking about how we put people that we say we forgive. And this is when a challenge comes in. We put them in a closet and we lock the door. We hold on to that key.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that, though. And he had to break it down for me to have an understanding because, I love forgiveness, but man, he broke it down. When you are having it, let's take this closet back there. You see, she got it locked. A lot of us have done people like that. We haven't truly forgave them. We're quick to say, no, I forgave them. That part. You have them locked up in a space. Go ahead.
Hold on. I can forgive somebody, but I don't have to fool with them.
You don't have to, but here's the question that he asked. That part, but here's the thing though. One thing that he said, and I really had to learn this about my own dad, and Winfrey, as a divorced man, said it himself. He said, when Jesus came to him and said, well, pray for your ex-wife, and he's like, oh, okay, well, I got them pray. He goes, no. Ain't talking about you just do that. Hallelujah, thank you, they. No, we're talking about you truly pray for them. You truly can pray without ceasing and not having any true anger. And for a lot of us, that's the hard part. Because I can sit here and say, girl, I'm praying for you, but I'm really not. Because I'm still holding on to what you did.
Can you pray?
Like I told you today, I pray for both of my baby. I pray for both of them.
Let me tell you, we're going to get to your testimony. Because you're not the baby. Your forgiveness, no, for real. Because your forgiveness level is on flick. Okay? But no, that's what he meant by that. And I'm going to tell you, it caught me because I was like, dang, I've had my dad and my mom in a box for so long to where in my head, I forgive them, but I didn't. Because I had an expectation of, you're going to tell me you're sorry. You're going to admit the things that you've done. You're going to do all of this. And God was like, you got to be able to take it without getting I'm sorry. You got to be able to take it without them changing anything because it's not your job for them to change. He's like, that's mine. And so I'm thinking all the stuff that I'm missing because I have this much hurt from what you did. So I never forget, one of my girls, Sabrina, gave me a mirror. And she said, I want you to look in this mirror. And I want you to say, I accept your apology. And I said, to who? She said, your dad. But I won't lie, that was the day it hurt the most. And ever since that day, in 2013, he has done things that should require me to still hate you. But I don't. Do I fool with them? Absolutely not. However, though, if you ask me to pray for him, just like I had to pray for that enemy of mine from 2 months ago, ain't got no problem doing it. Because at the end of the day, my loss is greater than them. I can't afford to miss a blessing because I want to stick you in this box and lock you up. No, I'm going to cut you free because God needs to work on you, and I have to accept that you need working on. But it's not my job. That's like being in marriage. You can't go to God. Tell me, well, Jesus, Ron did this, and Jesus look at you like this. I don't even know why you come to talk to me about Ron. I need you to look at yourself and look in the mirror. What do you need to change? Well, look here, Jesus, I didn't come to you about that. I said Ron did this, and God had to put me in check and say, this ain't about Ron, this is about you. So when I look at the people who have hurt me, and I look at the closet that I put them in, the list was stacked. And I really had to go, but these people sleeping real peaceful. And I'm over here in turmoil because unforgiveness caused sickness. Unforgiveness caused me to not be able to get pregnant when I felt like I wanted to get pregnant. I had to, no kidding, forget. I'm telling y'all, you know how I always say, unless Jesus stepped from the throne. Jesus stepped on the throne April 2023 and 2013 and said, if you want to be a mother naturally, you need to forgive the one that birthed you. And his words was, I will not allow you to carry a child in a toxic womb because of unforgiveness. And I had to go and forgive my mother. And I had to accept the fact that I may not get an apology. And it was. And I didn't realize how much, if y'all really think about it, At one point, we were still little girls in adult bodies because we stopped growing spiritually where we got hurt at. I always ask people, and I wrote it in my workbook, what is your first hurt? And when we did it at the conference, people was like, hey, what was the first hurt? And they got it. The first hurt is always the reason why we're still stuck. And mine was 5 years old on this playground, and her been clearing up my face with crying because I knew my mother was gonna like suck it up. And they laughing at me because I stink. Because my mother, we didn't bathe like that in the whole entire night. But I didn't have a supporting mother, so that hurt. So when people came at me, that hurt. And I had to adjust. And so when God said, what is your first hurt? I was like, oh. But I caught it. So I got to that point where when people say, man, you forgive so easily, because at the end of the day, honestly, I can't ask for forgiveness, but then I can't ask God for forgiveness if I can't forgive the people that's sitting in front of me. What do I sound like? So that's what I mean by we truly forgive. Because it's easy to lock someone in a closet and just lock the door and pretend they're not there. That's that junk closet. But it's time for us to clean that junk closet out. And unfortunately, that's where the grief and the guilt comes to play too. Unforgiveness, they all match up with each other. So when we're looking at the Bible and it says, oh, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, but then it comes back and God is like, Jesus is like, no, 70 times 70, that's a hard pill to swallow because why should I forgive them? They truly hurt me. Like they truly hurt me. And I had to really go to God and God said, but y'all hurt me. So that's why I say when we really think about forgiveness, why do we self-reflect first? Yes, people hurt us. We already know no sin is greater than the next. However, earthly, we've made it that way. We've made it as their sin that's greater than other sin. But I want you guys to think about it. You don't have to say anything, but I want you guys to think about people you have put in that closet, turned that key, and said, screw all of them. Mm-hmm. I ain't trying to unlock it. I don't really want to unlock it. But I also want you to think about what you lose by not opening it up. Because you got to remember, too, things that we're doing, and it was done in the Bible, generations after had to come and do the work. Because the before generation didn't do the work. And that's something a lot of people don't realize. If you had generations in the Bible, God had work for people to do. He didn't do it. So the other generations had to do it. And that's causing more work. When we think about the people, the Israelites, look, they stayed in the wilderness for 40 years. They was only supposed to be there for 40 days. They stayed 40 years because they didn't have any faith. They wanted to do what they wanted to. They complained and they whined. And Moses is up on the hill like, Jesus, check this out. Your people on my last nerve. I ain't trying to deal with them. But God gave him the strength to do it regardless of how he felt at that moment. So yeah, it is hard to forgive. I'm not even about to front and make it seem like it's not. It is hard to. I will say, and I can testify, it does get easy. Because when you start relying on God and not on yourself to forgive people, it starts to get easier.
I believe that because I deal with that now. Because for a long time, I wouldn't forgive nobody. Be like, I'm just not fooling with you.
Right.
I don't care. I'm like, nothing. Now it's more like, I forgive you. I don't fool with you.
Right.
Don't call me for nothing. If I see you, hey, how you doing? I keep it moving. Praying for it. I'm learning that because I do pray for my ex. You know, I pray for my mother. There's some people that's in that closet. I don't pray.
We're going to work on that.
We still working on that. I know my heart. I don't wish them no harm. You know, I just don't fool with you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. But I'm not adding you to my prayer list. He gotta work. He gotta tell me that. He'll tell me when it's time. They gonna stay in the closet.
We're gonna keep praying for you and just try
God,
to.
yeah.
Anybody else? What did you get out of the conference?
The conference was amazing. It was definitely an eye opener. So before I even got to the conference, y'all, I ran over a raccoon. So I wasn't even supposed to be there. I'm so serious. Like it just felt like I literally like ran over this raccoon. It convinced you right.
It did.
It ran, out and then came back to. I was like, okay. So getting there was a struggle. So I knew that a shift was gonna take place. So when we got there, instantly, like the people that were there, the connections, it was like we knew each other for so long. And we each clicked on a different level, but like the majority of our stories were the same. Like we were there for something. We were looking for something. God moved. Like the Holy Spirit was definitely there. The word that was given was for everyone. Like each person took it and placed it into their situation, and it made sense. People were free, most definitely. Connections were made. So I can speak on my part. Like so, me and I have a stepdaughter, 18-year-old. The relationship, it wasn't strained, but it wasn't. What's the word? Oh my gosh, what's the word? I'm trying to think. It wasn't strained, but it definitely wasn't where I would have liked it to be. And of course, being the stepmom, like it's a lot that comes with that too, So, children, just a lot. But that day when we went to the conference, and she literally asked out of the blue, can she come? So of course, I told Tori if I could bring her, and Tori was like, yeah. So when we went, like it was amazing. We clicked after the conference and everything, going through the conference, and I learned some things about her as well that she couldn't share, didn't know how to share, and to whom to share it with. So the conference was amazing. Like the pictures speak for themselves, you know what I mean? So I would definitely do it and bring her as well. But it was amazing. Like God was there. Is really what I can say. Like the Holy Spirit definitely in that place, and everyone got what they need and left with what they need.
So my goal for you guys is like, I want you all to be in a place where you are free from all those things, those bondages, because I have learned that grief, guilt, unforgiveness, all of that, it's like chains. It chains you up, it has you bound. You can't move, you can't think, you can't move in a way in the purpose that God has you. And a lot of times when we are trying to figure life out, we really don't even know how to maneuver. And sometimes we don't even know what to pray. One of the things is that I have learned that it is not proper in our word to forgive injustice. And for us, injustice means different things. Sometimes it's the small things, sometimes it's the big things. But the biggest thing that the biggest thing that I have learned is that not just that forgiveness is for me and not the other person. However, I've also learned that, that cliche word, that forgiveness sometimes is for the other person. And I say that because the one thing, and y'all know me well, y'all know I always ask that question if you're dating or if the person like, well, was they reading about my daddy and all those things? Because when we start to take a look at a person, just like you said earlier, we're fighting against the spirit. And a lot of times we get so much in our emotions, we forget that we're fighting against spirits and not the individual people, that Satan is using them. So when I say we have to be in a movement of forgiveness, is because at the end of the day, you're forgiving the person, not that spirit. Our job is to pray that spirit to be released from that person. Because at the end of the day, if we think about ourselves and we think about our actions in the past, what had us going? Spirits. Spirits are like leeches. That's why soul ties are so big these days, because they are like leeches. So when we are dealing with a person, we're not dealing with them. It's almost like those who they put in institutions. When you think about people you see on the streets, and they be like, Jesus is coming. And you hear people say, no, folks crazy. No, they really ain't. They're really not. But they have demons that is on a move lately. And if you have an itch in your spirit for them to come in, they're going to come. They know your weakness. That's the thing about Satan. Satan know our weakness. Here's why when you think about how Southern Baptists, how a lot of them speak in tongues, because Satan can't interpret tongues. That's the reason why they say you can speak in tongues, because Satan can't interpret that. However, though, just like Job, a lot of people confuse Job as if he was weak. Did he have a weak moment? Yes, because he had everything taken from him. Everything. Wife, kids, house, everything. However, though, God blessed him with that 10 times fold. He had double because he had to trust God. So when we talk about forgiveness, getting rid of guilt, getting rid of grief, how well do you trust God, though, to make that movement? But you have work to do, which is, as she said, you got to take people out of your closet. You got to unlock that door. Is that a hard journey to do? Absolutely. But you got to remember what you're fighting. You're not fighting the individual person. You're fighting the spirit. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. That person can leave this earth and you're still going to be unforgiving to them. And they're not even here. Now you're still bound because you didn't forgive them. Because it's the spirit, not the person. So that's why I want to leave that with, you know, you got to forgive the person because it's the spirit you're battling with. And once we get that, I think a lot of us will be more freer. But we don't get some of these people out of these closets. I know y'all.
I don't feel like I have anyone in the closet but myself.
Protecting you.
Myself.
Why? Give your hand. I see your face.
Hey, I ain't gonna be the only one over here.
Right. Let it go. Why do you have yourself in the closet?
I have myself in a closet because I allowed myself to be vulnerable and open to all of the wrong.
Oh. And there's many people out there, I guarantee you, that feel the same way you do. And they need to hear that. So what is it going to take to get you to forgive you?
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. That
Well, I will tell you.
If you don't know the answer right now, it's okay.
Yeah, but I will tell you, definitely work on, definitely forgive you. Let me tell you, God has already forgiven you. And one of the things that I had to learn, that I didn't learn was in 2013, that it's okay to tell God that you're angry with him because he already knows. Well, no, I'm just saying that I'm just saying in general, because a lot of times we be angry with God and won't even tell him we angry with him.
I'm angry with myself because I allowed it.
That's that guilt.
And then sorry, but fuck all of them.
Yeah. And she said what she said.
Like they no longer get any of my energy, them personally. Right?
Right.
But it is me in, why did you do that? Why did you let me? Exactly. Why did you let me? Why did you sit and tolerate this, that, and the third?
You don't have the answer.
Exactly. And so therefore, I'm pissed at myself.
Yeah. Because you were trying to give it that.
Do you think you have had expectations for people that you knew deep down could not meet those expectations?
No.
You thought that you would be so
Exactly.
expectations.
Every person that I have allowed in my space that has proven me wrong, I know that they can meet those expectations. And so I know that they just chose not to do it with me.
And then on top, you probably don't told them all what you expect, and they still went and did what they
And
wanted to do.
did all of the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They did the exact opposite, the polar opposite
Yeah.
of what I said.
Yeah.
And then I'm wrong
Mm-hmm.
because I choose not to deal with it anymore. I refuse.
Now you
Come on, somebody. Now I'm acting funny. Now I'm acting
Saying
brand new.
you're a comedian.
And
Yeah. So wait, you like you in the closet too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I gotta protect me.
But so here's I was like, let's ask this question because you just hit a point. You guys are putting yourself in the closet to protect yourself, but how much do you
hurting though?
And how much do you trust in God?
Oh, I trust her completely.
You can't if you got yourself in a closet.
I can say this. No, because when I think of putting myself in a closet, I am, like you said, disconnecting, shutting myself off from the people that bring me nothing but pain.
yes.
And that's okay for me to do that. That's how I protect myself, my energy, and those around.
Not closing off to everybody.
No, not everybody. I'll step out that thing if I need to. But please believe if I need to go back in, I will. But I trust him completely with everything. But I know that if I need to put myself in the closet, this is my protection because I have put myself out there and have expected things out of people that I know can do the things, but they refuse to do them for me. Why I don't know, because I give them that. But like you said, expectation.
And that goes back to this, and this
So
goes
I
to
have to
any
stop.
relationship.
Expecting me out of it.
And that's the first thing.
Exactly. It's like my
But
heart so big,
Yeah.
it's so giving.
Why is it your?
Why is it that you won't do what I do? And
Right.
Give it back.
And so here's the thing too, and it goes back to I said trusting. Because here's the thing, I'm not about to sit here. I've made myself wrong completely, but let me tell you, I'm not about to lock myself in no closet. Now, I will remove myself from the situation of people. I forgive you, but I'm not gonna put you in no closet. I'm not about to put me in no closet because I did. But one of the hardest things I had to learn is any relationship now that I make, friendship or whatever, God is I'm supposed to be in this for be there. And that's something I wasn't doing. I wasn't praying about it beforehand because you can meet people and be like, girl, I like her. Did I pray about that before I met him? I mean, when I met him, did I pray that Jesus is supposed to be the person? Because we cling to like-minded spirits sometimes. But however, sometimes the like-minded spirits ain't right. Because their intentions is not right. They can be like, ooh, it's almost like grooming. Like they like your old friend. She knew things where she knew how to talk with you.
Right, but then you said it goes back to like-mindedness. We weren't like-minded.
But what I mean is the tension wasn't right.
Right, but where I was at in my life, I needed a friend.
Correct.
I needed somebody that I could talk to, somebody that I could bond with.
Yes.
That part. So we weren't like-minded. We had similarities, but we weren't like-minded. I needed something and she needed something. She needed to take
And you was giving
manipulation.
But
technical
I
manipulation.
was something else. That's why the friendship didn't work.
And so that goes back to us praying about friendships and not being so quick to call a person a friend, which I'm definitely at fault at that. To where now I pray about that thing first. Because I meet people all the time and they're supposed to be in my space. It could be an associate space, it could be a business space. But I'm gonna ask God, is this what they supposed to be? So that's why I say for me, I can't lock myself in the closet because there's people who actually do need my vulnerability to where I have to pray now. Because at first I wasn't. I was letting people in.
Closet adjacent.
So closet. She said, well, we're gonna adjust it. Hey. And see, and I did that because I was hurt.
Right.
But it took me dang near 40 years to get in the space to go, why hide me? That goes to the post that I made that day. Why hide me because of people who have hurt me?
Oh, listen.
Why
I'm not
hide?
hiding me.
There you go.
I'm not hiding me.
But you got yourself locked away. Because, wait, here's the thing.
I
You got your
we can't.
No, hold on. You are hiding yourself away to where you don't trust.
Okay, now see, I'm gonna poke a hole in it real quick because if I didn't trust God and I was in a closet like, would He have brought me through my divorce, allow me to be vulnerable and live in my feminine energy, to now be engaged to a man that allows me to be free in who I am and be the woman that I want.
Absolutely.
If I did not trust God 100%, if I was in the closet.
But then you can still be in a closet, but guess who know how to get you though?
Who?
God.
That's what she's saying.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
That's what she's saying.
what I'm saying though,
Okay.
but here's the thing though. You decided to come out and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You decided to come out, as you said, adjusted, to be vulnerable. When you are hiding your heart and you have these walls up, unless you really want someone to break down them walls, they're not.
Come on, Molly.
So y'all are saying the same thing, but saying it differently.
That part, because when I think of closet, I have a different meaning for it.
What's your meaning for that closet?
I explained it to you.
It sounds like she's using it as her
As-
recharge
as-
space.
Yeah.
That's
It's not being completely closed off, shut up. It's not a cement. It's not for cement wall, right? I am in that closet to protect me when I need to protect me and to be away from those that I know are going to drain me.
So you come out for those who deserve it.
There you go. Hello.
So, but here's my question though.
So you all deserve that.
That part. we got all of that.
Like, no lie.
Yeah.
Like 10 toes down.
Yeah.
But if I don't know you and I get a bad vibe from you,
All right.
it's shut off.
There you go.
I can talk to you all day.
That part.
And until I get to know you and you show me a different energy and we have the different conversations to where I feel like you might not screw me over.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Me going out my own and I go meet people,
Mhm.
I'm a little closed off. Right?
Yes.
And it's not that I'm a bad person or they're a bad person.
Yep.
It's just I need time
Yep.
to see who you really are.
You read the room.
I need
Now,
time for discernment.
There you go.
Tori says, hey, come here. My girls are going to be here. Defense mechanism is down
Gone.
because there's a trust factor.
There you go.
I know you're
Yeah.
not
I'm
going to
leaving
allow
my There you go.
the wrong people in my
Exactly.
circle.
Yes.
You know what I've been through. You're
Mhm.
not going to put me in that position. But
Yep.
you can't say that for everybody.
There.
Oh no, I can't.
That's
Well, that's
exactly.
why. But that's why I say before I go, I pray they're supposed to be in my. Because here's the thing, and even if I'm walking in the room from jump, I had to learn. But again, it took me some time. Now when I walk in, it could be right in the spot. I don't like that. And hey, how you doing? But when I say my top, I'm not going into a space anymore. I'm gonna say hey and stuff, but you're not part of my circle. And and you ain't getting invited to nothing. Close my stuff off to them is what I'm saying. They don't get to know me. I don't want to say personally because they do, because at the end of the day there may be something. However, though, I have learned, for instance, I have a whole lot of airmen with different energies. Lord have mercy. And I've had to learn, and I think that was done purposely. I've had to learn how to deal with the negative and the positive energy all in one space, to where at first I didn't know how to do it, and it was draining the crap out of me. To where I start to go, okay, God, how do I balance this out? Because I won't lie, the closet that you guys talking about, I needed that. I want to be basically by myself. I don't want to do with y'all because all of y'all getting on my last dog on nerve.
As they empath, I have to take my energy.
Yeah,
Correct.
completely, 100%.
Like I have to.
Correct. But I had to learn how to balance that. And the way God put it to me was, I'm going to put you in places where you're going to get both. So you got to be able to balance. So even though I have that space, it's one of those, I can't always hide out for a little bit. I have to learn how to balance it. Now, it doesn't mean they get to get that vulnerable part of me. I've had to learn how to deal with my husband, he's now vulnerable. Let me put it like that. Ron is one of those ones, he's very, he's logical. He's very, very logical. However, we balance each other out now. I've learned how to think a little bit like him, because he has no problem, doing this. Now he's more open to be like, okay, all right, and that's what I had to learn. I had to learn to be a little more backwards and not be in my feelings so much with the vulnerability, and not allow people to also take what they find as a weakness and use it. My weakness was, you talk too much, and I would draw down. And like you said earlier, I wasn't myself because I just shut up, because my talk too much is going to disturb someone else's peace. Oh my God, you loud and country. So I'm trying to figure out how to calm that down.
Looking like the name right there.
But what I mean by that is, that was what it was. I was taking, they was taking what I thought was vulnerable, because that's what I always got told was vulnerable, and you don't do that. So where now, if you don't like it, your vibe is off, I don't care. And it's not to disrespect you, but I cannot, as you say, dim my light, because I feel like you don't like my vulnerability. Now, am I giving you my peace? Absolutely not. And the reason why I'm not now, because I have learned how to be okay with me. I think the problem is a lot of us give our peace so easily away because other people have taken what we felt like is us and tried to dim it down so much. And some of us, me personally, have not always been strong. Like y'all some strong women, especially these two right here. Y'all be like, forget you. I didn't have that energy though. I didn't have it at all. I was a punk, and I say it freely. People talk about me, they dog me, and I would go crawl in a hole. Like I would go crawl in a hole because you take it. Now, I ain't crawling to nothing. You see me, you see me. So I get where you two definitely are coming from. But I have learned that for me to recharge, it's to me gonna be me. Yes, I'm vulnerable, I'm loud, I'm bold, I'm colorful, and I talk a lot. And your point is,
Come on, attitude.
but it took
Right.
but it took me 40 years to get here, to finally, I don't want to say not care, but just to not care.
That's funny that you said it. It took you 40 years for you to get to a point to where you have that strength that you say we have.
I want to cry,
and it took me. Took me time to get to this
Vulnerability.
vulnerable. Oh my God.
She was like, I'm vulnerable now. Here we go.
I'm a thug, you know.
Because
I'm in my best energy.
Yeah. Before the divorce or after?
Oh, you read?
I've been like 14.
And
she was
look here, at 14.
Did it make her clothes
Look.
No, she was going in at 14.
No,
I know.
no.
For all of that.
Look,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Now I'm more of my feminine energy. I can relax. I can breathe. I'm not in control. I'm not having to be in my masculine energy. I have a balance now because I have someone that allows me to be in my feminine energy and says it's okay if you want to be in your masculine energy, but just make sure that you come back on the other side because you don't have to be in control. And I'm thankful for him because after I got the divorce, I started doing my therapy and I started learning more about my feminine energy. Before me and me even got together, I was like, look, I'm tired of being so strong. I'm tired of handling it all, carrying it all, being everything. I need to find something that's going to bring me peace because I'm not at peace right now. And I realized that my nurturing side was deprived. And I'm like, okay, I need to be nurtured. How can I nurture myself first? Had to tap more into my feminine energy. I had to let that gotta be in control. I'm the lead. I don't give a damn what you say, what I say. I had to let that go and be like, you know what? It's okay. Yes. All right. I'm cool with that. It's cool. I like that. I'm willing to compromise. You know.
That's a whole change right there.
Because he'll tell you, he'll be like, what? I like that.
You listen?
I like that. So, but it's different.
Dolphins say different, but good.
It's different, but it's great. It's great.
This has been a good conversation.
Absolutely. Girl,
Oh, yes.
That's what I hear. You found your safe space.
I need to make you feel safe, girl. That's the number one thing. It's safe.
I told you like a schoolgirl telling me he
Yeah.
made me feel safe.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've never had that in any relationship.
But see, that goes to what I said. My relationship with Christ changed to where I felt safe enough to be vulnerable in public and not worried about people hurting me. And if they did, it's okay. So that's what I mean by the closet space.
I get you. I get it.
That's why I say it took me to have a true relationship. And I will say this. I didn't realize how powerful it was until after this conference. Because after I spoke my truth. And a lot of people don't understand this. I wrote down everything I was gonna say. It didn't go nowhere like that. God was giving me revelation during my speaking, and he had me thinking about Lot. And I was like, Lot? I don't even Lot like that. But he had me thinking about Lot. And he was reminding me when the two men came to the city and how they was warning Lot, you need to get out the city, and how people didn't want to leave, they didn't want to believe Lot, they was like, whatever, they're like, all right, we're gonna burn that Jesus, God's about to burn this place down, and Lot was like, I don't believe, but I'm only gonna go right here to this spot right here. And it said in there, he wanted to go to the very small city of Zara because he didn't trust what was out there. Abraham did. Abraham went ahead and went. But what God had showed me in that time was, I had so much hate from my mother, I couldn't receive from her. And what I didn't realize was my mother was considered one of the people that came to the gate to tell Lot to get out. In my head, all these years, I'm like, my mother abandoned me. Because in our head, that's what it looks like. In actuality, when my mother came and asked me, do you want to go live with your grandmother? That was her coming into the city saying, you used to go. She needed to do some changes. And for me, I didn't get that because I didn't like the makeup of the person. Even though my mother has apologized a whole lot through my life, she did. She apologized. I couldn't accept it because of the makeup. Yes. I didn't care for who it was coming from. But it took me to finally catch who she was. That's the thing. I didn't know who my mother was. I thought she abandoned me. It was almost like Moses, how his mom put him in the basket and shipped him down the river. She did that to save his life. And in my head, yes, my mother abandoned me. However, though, even though I lived with my grandmother, my mother was always in the picture. She never left. And she did apologize. I just didn't like the lifestyle she chose.
And it's crazy that you say that because even when Moses' mom, she was still there.
Yeah.
She was still in the picture. She just didn't tell them that this was her son, but she was in the picture. She watched over her.
And when I found out, when God had told me to forgive her, I was ready to finally do it. And I only had my mom after that for 9 more months. And I tell a lot of people, and I said it in my story, I'm glad I did what I did when I did it. Because in those 9 months, she became my mom. She became mommy for me. And I had to learn that we choose to take growth from the people we feel have the makeup of what we think is right. Hence why you got people on the corner saying Jesus is coming. We don't listen to them because their makeup ain't right. Oh, they're crazy, because that's how society put it. But sometimes God gives us people in different formats and different ways to say A, B, C, and D. And it goes back to, like you said, that spirit of discernment, to knowing what they're saying and just praying to God. So the hardest part about life is forgiving those who we feel has hurt us. But if you always hear God say, and the people always say all the time, we go through things and then we don't really find out why we went through it until years later, or, whatever. So I had to learn. I went through what I went through because there was things that I needed to say that somebody else was going to go through. I was going to be able to talk to. And my mother had guilt for years for what happened with us, because she felt like I wasn't a good mom. She felt like, man, I allowed this man to beat me and just destroyed my children's life. Hence why she got on drugs, because she didn't know how to cope with the beating. So it was one of those things that's like a domino effect. And so I had to learn who she was in the process of learning who I am, to understand that we were the same people, just with different demons. And God was like, how do you expect people to listen to you and what you're saying when just because you dressing up going to church don't mean nothing? And that was the hard pill. My mother's sitting up here now in a wheelchair, and I used to be like, man, Mom, how do you feel about having? And she used to always say she didn't regret about having the stroke. She said it was a wake-up call for her. She said I had things I needed to work on. So a lot of times we go through things not realizing that it is a blessing at the end of the day. But we also have to learn how to look past the people and look at the spirit. What is talking? And that's why I've always say now, I've learned to forgive the person and pray for their spirit. Because their spirit is what needs to change. Once that spirit changed, then the person changed. And once we get that, we'll better learn how to be more forgiving and more understanding and more in walking and more in peace with the things around us. And then also, honestly, accepting people for who they are, because people are fighting those demons that we cannot fight for them. Only thing we can do is pray for them. And just like you said, we don't have to have them in our space. There's people that are not in my space that I still pray for. Do I like how they treated me? No. But now in my life, I'm proud, I'm loud, and I'm bold, and don't care. I am going to be me. I will not let anyone else dim my light or my spirit. I am who I am. This is my makeup. And God is going to put people in my life who deserves that. And he's going to put people in my life I think don't deserve it. God going to be like, ain't your call. And that's the problem. God be like, it ain't your call. And we be like, why don't? So we have to be careful with our prayers and everything else, and how we deal with people, because you never know that smile may get someone throughout the day. That, hey girl, how you doing? That's why Nish used to laugh at me all the time, because she be like, you walk around and say, hey, good morning. And they just lied on you. They did. They sure did, but you ain't get my energy. Good morning.
Mm-hmm. That's how I felt about it.
That's
Good morning to everybody but that.
That is energy.
Oh, take it. You said hi to everybody but that.
The ones that needed the most. No. Not
And you said hi to
Do it.
See? And so, and I laugh because Nisha and Daphne used to be at work going, so you said good morning. I did. And did with a smile on my face. And you know what? Somebody actually told me, we don't love you, don't like someone. My grandma always said, you catch more beast on her, baby. And you know, the crazy part is, you know, the military word is already small. That's okay. It didn't work on me. But that's why I talk about forgiveness the most, because I did it. Like, ma'am, you don't need to get in the corner with your honey right now. Okay, but no, it is. I just wanted people to hear how the different perspective about life, forgiveness, guiltiness, grief, and actually how they all play into each other. Because a lot of people are like, oh no, they different, but they're not. It's a domino effect. You got grief turns into guilt. Guilt turns into unforgiveness. You'll be like, oh, I hate everything about you. And a lot of situations in life is like death. I heard divorces is like death.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yes, you all four been through it here. You all been through it. And so you've gone through that depth of something that is supposed to have been sacred and everything else for many different reasons. But that is the hard thing of is trying to forgive and truly forgive and truly not feeling guilty and being okay with the decision that has been made. And that knowing that God got something greater for you. And so, you know, today as we get ready to end, you know, I know God is going to just like bless y'all in every way possible because of you guys' heart, your spirit. You know, I'm always praying for y'all all the time anyway. I want your vulnerability to be seen because I feel like someone needs to see it. They need to hear your story. They need to. And a lot of times we hide that because we don't want to be that open. You would not hear my story because I don't have time for this. You anybody catch me in my feelings.
And you won't use it against you.
Yeah.
Period.
But there's
you
people,
don't know.
and that's the thing. People need to hear it. Because you know what? Somebody's gonna hear you say, I put myself in the closet. And they're gonna be like, yes, that was me right there. Because they need to hear it. And I think that's the problem with us these days. We don't want to share our walk because we are scared of what people think. And so, you know, I pray that you guys at some point will be able to be free to share your full-blown story with no thoughts of other people and how they feel. Because no matter what, if it reaches one, that's what matters right there. That one got to hear your story and be like, man, I'm just like her. You know?
It's true. Because I even said, like, when I get another relationship, I won't tell nobody my past, but I should be able to talk to whoever about anything that in my past, you know, without you judging. You know?
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, if you really think about it, it goes for all of us. No matter how bad our past was, our past is what made us. We went through it for a reason. Think about it, we didn't go through none of that. Then what story do we have to tell? I mean, really, what story? But still, what story would you have to tell someone? Nothing. Don't get me wrong. A lot of our passes are like, ooh, it's just damaging. Yeah. And I hate to say it, when I've kept the secret of being molested for so long because I knew it was the reason for my downfall with sex. Sex was my demon, period. And from the age of 9 to me meeting Ron, it held on close, tight. I'm talking about it was like a rope around my waist, like, yes. I had to do it, I had to have it. And I got no fulfillment out of it at all. But I would never tell anyone that. Don't ask me how many partners I had because I'm about to lie through my teeth. Because you ain't about to judge me. But now, I don't care. None whatsoever. I did what I did. Do I regret it? Absolutely not, because it's made me who I am. I am able to tell my story to other people so they don't feel ashamed. We all got passes, so no past is greater than the next because no sin is greater than the next one. So I have come to learn to be bold, proud, loud, and absolutely fabulous with it. So do anybody have anything before we close? We're going to do a part 2 of this. Yes, bestie. Say when we close. Love you, man.
Love you, bye.
No, I don't feel like that right now. So nothing? Nothing.
I will add with the guilt, just not from.
It's all right. Come on. Let them use you.
It's the mommy guilt.
Oh.
Girl.
It's
No, do this.
like so.
I got it.
I know.
I mean, so my kid is about to be 18. Military, right?
Yeah.
Sales, travel. There have been so many moments that I wish I was there for, that I now tend to overcompensate.
I was gonna be all night.
Because, I mean, I miss them.
Yeah.
When he was younger, like there were TDYs, all of that, right?
Trust me.
Got out, went into sales, right? And then as a sales rep, you're working 9, 10 hours. It's not an 8-hour shift. It's not a 9 to 5. It is exactly right. Especially during the holidays. You're in there. If you want to make that commission check, you dang near have to be there from opening.
Yeah.
That's 8 to 8, 9 to 9, 9 to 10, just
Crazy hours.
Whatever.
yes, right? And you make your money on the weekends. And when you have kids and they play sports, they're in activities, it's on the weekend.
Yeah.
Because I am that strong one in the relationship,
Yeah.
and so therefore I have to hold it.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm in a better relationship, praise God. And I am no longer in the sales job. I now have that 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I overcompensate in wanting to be there for every single thing. And I am to almost the detriment of not doing my job.
So let me ask you this: do your son have any regrets of you not being there when he was younger, though, or you just have regrets?
I have regrets.
That's a good question, though.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, because if
It's all
your
me.
son not have, like. If
He
you
understood
have
it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
understands that I had to work. It's
Exactly.
all me.
Yeah.
That's all me.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm analytical, and I think, and that's part of the reason I don't sleep well.
Overthinking.
Oh, yeah.
Overthinking. Yeah.
And it's always
My mind never
yeah.
Can't shut it off.
Can't shut up.
But where do you get to that point where you say, if your children are vocal, because we all got children that are vocal, if your children are vocal and saying, Mom, it's okay, where are you going to finally find it?
He just said it to me.
How did you feel when he told you?
She crying.
Because I couldn't be at one of his band performances. And I said, so sorry, I'm such a terrible mom. I can't be there. He was like, no, you just be here this time.
But how did you feel?
She cried.
She cried.
But did you find peace in his words?
She said,
Just
thank you.
a tad
Yeah.
Because I still feel like I need to be there. Point in case in December. His birthday is the 3rd. I'm going to be there for his birthday. And he has a performance on the 8th. And so therefore, I'll be there from the 1st to the 10th. Because I need to be there for my baby's performance. It's not me.
It'll
But
take
it's
time.
just that girl, he's gonna be 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah, to stop then. Cause right now it ain't. She is.
Well, yours is in college, and you don't miss a game. And like, this is your first game that
I know, but like the opposite of her though, like she said she work. I am staying on a job that I know I can move further from, but I want to be there for everything. Cause my job allow me to be there for everything. So if I wanted to make more or to do more, I need to do what she did. But right now I'm just okay with settling because I know I want to be there with my kids and everything. And the job allowed me to be there with everything. And that's why I had to move.
Yeah.
And it's just what I chose to do though. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it is, and that's one of the reasons why when we moved to San Antonio, moving to San Antonio, I was not planning to retire at the moment. That was not the goal. We were gonna come in, stay on base. I was gonna come and get them 2 more years, try to make senior, because I literally did think I was gonna try to make EA. And that was December. And then in January, they was like, hey, we're gonna put you on a code that's gonna leave this upcoming summer, which was summer of 22. And I was like, whoa, just got back. I just moved and I've been on the road all this time. And I asked my baby girl, don't get me wrong, love my husband, but he okay with that. Hey, baby girl, how would you feel if mommy was gone? She goes, gone where? I said, well, obviously you like your brother. She was like, that's a long time. She was like, do we go with you? I go, no, it's a deployment. She was like, nope. And she was like, I don't even like the Air Force because they made us move. And I was like, okay. But she was serious. To the course where she had like a little lunch thing at school, and Janae nagged me for like a week. Mommy, come and do lunch with me? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Mommy, you gonna do lunch with me? Oh, you like for real? And she kept. And when she sees me come up to the school, she gets excited. My mom's here. My mom's here. Yes, my mom is here. And like I could tell Ron, because Ron said, "Are you sure you want to retire?" With Jamar, it wasn't semi-easy, but it was to travel and everything because I knew Ron was there. Jamar was older, but I missed a lot, even with him. And then working at Waka, I missed a lot being on the road. But I had to make a conscious decision of, do I want to be in a job where they tell me when I can take leave? I got to get permission to take leave that I've earned, And then also deployments, they come down whenever they come down. So, you got to take the tasker. And I'm at a step in my career to where I really can't be like, nah, I ain't gonna go because of the rank that I carry. However, I had to make that decision. And so that was one of the reasons why I made the decision to retire, because I'm at a point of, I've done my time. Me going to deployment is going to do what? And honestly, I won't lie to you. Another reason why it was like I need to retire, because when I retire, I want my family in that seat. So many people are retiring without their family because they're staying in. And honestly, the pay rates ain't no different from each other anyway. The workload is hell and high water. She was frustrated. I raised my voice. But, the cost of me being able to go to a school, something with Janae, outweighs me being at work wearing this uniform all the time.
And it make you feel any better by the time a boy get to middle school, they don't want you to come anywhere.
No, Christian did.
It doesn't, because my son did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So with that, boys love their mamas.
They do, but my baby's in the 4th grade right now. It's not going to hit field trip with him. He told me no.
Well, Gavin's different though. We can't do. Gavin's set up a little different.
And that's where
And I
some
wanted
of
to
it
go.
comes from. Because, yeah, like Christian, he wanted me to
Okay.
go on those field trips. Like,
Okay.
I went on I think he was in the 5th grade. They went to DC,
Okay.
and I went with him, and he was so happy.
But you gotta remember, you
And it's just, it's all of those things, like going to lunch and being there for those different things that I wasn't able to be there for.
So for me, like,
Yeah, they love
here,
me. I know
I
that.
always, and I tell people all the time, my husband was the first time. Because I was in, and I cry about it all the time. Because I'm always using a toy or moving, and then they're moving back to Texas. I'm in another location, so he's always has a way to share my and taking those deployments or going on those TUIs and missing birthdays, missing anniversaries, missing. It's hard because you can't get that time back.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, and I would make it a point to come back, go and stuff like that. So I was in Germany. It was hard because he was, getting ready to start his first day of school.
It's okay.
Like you want to do stuff with your baby, and he's my only birth child. So, but it's hard. It really is hard. So by the time I retire, he's going to be 17. Like, so me being back here, like I fought to come back to Fort Hood. Like people would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you want to go there? Because that's why I know where we want to retire here, and this is where they were. So I had to fight to come back to Fort Hood. So I'm glad I'm here. Like, first day of middle school, like I took so many pictures. And, like no, you the locker. So cold. Look at that. Like I was writing stuff for him in his phone, like for him to remember. Like I was saying, like, don't make me go to that school. Like it's just like for me, it's the little things. Like spending that time with him. Like it can be corny, but and then I remember him like I asked him like, hey, mom is leaving again. Like, he was like, oh man, like that tugs at your heartstring. Like your child's like, oh man, mom, you're leaving again. That's one guilt that is always with me. Like knowing that, and I tell people all the time, like my husband really raised my son because I really wasn't there. Like between deployments, TDYs, moving here and there. Like that sacrifice is. So I told her, I was like, when I retire, like I said, he'll be 17 and get ready to do whatever in life, like taking more trips. Like we're gonna go here, we're gonna do that, and I can enjoy those years with him versus when he was younger. Because I'm like, when he's younger, he might not remember so much, but kids remember. They remember things like. You weren't here for this and that. And that's one thing that holds me is because I don't want him to feel like I've abandoned him or left him or, him feeling any type of regret towards me for not being there. So, yeah.
That's when communication come in a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to communicate with them. Why? Even like people think that you shouldn't communicate with kids because Black household, it's a child and a child play. And it's not true. You should talk to them because they're going to have to grow up to be this adult.
And they don't know how to function in life if you don't have that conversation. Kids are not dumb. That part, like, and you do. Let me tell you, you got 4. And I love your communication with them. I love your family time that you have with them. And I think for us as being military, it's tough because people always say, well, you chose to be in that job. And you're right. Everybody chooses the job that they want. But we still got to, work at something. It's not easy to be away from the family. It's not easy to go to the deployment. It's not easy And unfortunately, I hate to say it, I've seen people get out early because of that family time, you know? Yep. So it's one of those sacrifices that we make and be like, and I won't lie, like I'm truly blessed with Ron because having gone on my trips and he got the kids, technology is so great these days because I'm able to FaceTime. Because when I deployed at that time, it wasn't no FaceTime. I was in the tent on the regular, room phone. It was ridiculous. But I'm appreciative of learning how to communicate with my child and knowing what they, because even though Jamari is not at home, he'll still call. And so, like you said, Janae, kids remember everything because Janae knows, Mama, we have a day every 2 weeks. And I try to keep that. I know when I get back like from this trip, hey, me and Janae got a date coming up because I owe her that. And it's usually just me and her. And she's so simple. She's okay with her blanket outside in the grass, having a picnic, and that's what she wants to do. And so all it is that quality time. So
kids are simple. The parents is what make them
worse.
Yeah.
Like your expectations a little high, but I get it. Our kids like crab legs now. But here's the thing, though. We're that way now because we wasn't able to be that way as a child.
No.
Why make our kids suffer when we don't have to?
I give my kids everything that I did not get, and then some.
I do too, but she still works for some of her stuff.
Mine is 5 and 2.
Yeah, that's different.
That's hard.
That's and they start learning how to wash clothes at like 6.
I mean, even at 17, I still do some of what
Yep.
you're saying because
they the kids still.
I didn't have a whole lot growing up, and the guilt of just not being there. I wasn't able to do what you're able to do in setting those dates every 2 weeks or every week. I did not have that luxury nor the time.
Well, I would say this. I didn't either. I just had this time after some things that happened and COVID. I had to make it intentional because it's not something that I did. Not even with Jamar. It's not what I did at all.
That's what I'm saying.
But COVID was like, y'all ain't going to work. Shoot,
I'm
trying to go.
it now because he's older. But when he was your baby's age, I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, I'm about to retire now because Jamar, I didn't do it at all with Jamar.
Formative years to where you want to be able to do it. And then that's when and they start to make different. So they say things.
They don't do.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Girl,
Y'all are not doing it.
Just say,
They
I
understand.
my mommy guilt was different, right? I have a 19-year-old. I've been in December 16th, make 19 years. I left her at 9 months. The next time I seen her after that, she was 1 year old. That was the day I graduated from school. She lived with my mother until she was 5 because of constant Navy deployments. So I didn't meet my daughter until she was 5. Now I will tell you, my 19-year-old, she resents the hell out. I would do any and everything in this world to protect her, but she resents me. She resents me because of the choices I made. But I also watched my mother and father work 2 jobs and they were never home. So what good is being present, but you're never present, right? Yeah. So when I made the decision that I had a kid in the 12th grade and it wasn't planned and, thinking you wrong, things happen, I needed to find a way. And while there were moments where she understood some of it, there were also times that she didn't, and it got to a point where as she got older, she had to make choices and she chose to hold grudges or hold resentment towards something. But I will tell you, I had the complete opposite experience with my 9-year-old. One of the hardest, I had never left her. I had her, we moved to Japan, and I had to do some 6-month deployments here or there, but the longest I had left her was 6 months. I made the choice to go to DC. The longest I had to leave her was 21 days. So I had never left her until this recent deployment for 1 year. And when they told me I had to go, the hardest person I had to tell was her. I didn't care what anybody else had to say, but I felt like she was my second chance of getting it right.
Yeah.
Because with the first one, you don't know what you do.
No.
When you're young, and you don't have the right people in place,
Yeah.
you're kind of
Yeah.
just figuring it out.
Mhm.
And I went and I told her, with tears in my eyes, like, hey, I got something I gotta tell you, like I have to go away for a year. And this little girl looked me in my eyes, she said, it's not that long. It's not that long. She said, it's okay, it's not that long. But one thing I will say that I learned between the two of them is that, make the most of the time that you have, right? I've never, 37 years old, I've never been on vacation with my mother. My mother still works day in and day out. So I made it a point. I saw what she was doing. I understand why she did it. But I also felt that I never reaped the benefit of being, like, we don't have memories. So I take every opportunity to build those memories. So regardless of the sacrifices that you do, because we sacrifice while they're young, just build those memories. My kid has iPads. She shares photo albums. Like I find the littlest thing, whether it's what movie are you going to watch? I'm going to watch it as well. We're going to talk about it. She got pictures from all the moments that I was there, and she's 10. She doesn't remember her first Halloween, but you can't tell that girl that she don't remember her first Halloween. She can tell you what she wore. She can tell you what candy she had. She can tell you everything about it because we try to capture those moments. Regardless of what has happened. And you're going to have dark days, right? She called me one day, 3:00 in the morning, and she's like, Mom, I got my heart broken. And I'm halfway across the world. What do you, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She said, that boy that I said I like, well, we got a new girl in school, and he said he likes her. And she busted, she started bawling, like it was one of us, And I felt so helpless, right? And all I could do was tell her, baby, like, it's okay. It's okay. And we stayed on the phone and we talked through that process, right? And it's like, I never thought I had to tell my kid at 9-year-old, she was like, I know I got to deal with rejection, but, I just, and it's like, she's 9, the things, I'm telling you, the things that we had to endure, and these guys are enduring this really, really early. So, they're resilient though. Understanding us being military parents, and we constantly have to move. Think about your junior soldier who just walked in and they never left home. Your child will never have to deal with that. They're resilient. We have built them up with so much resiliency. They are not afraid to hop on a plane and go halfway across the world. They are. So it has its downfalls, but it also has its positives. So don't carry too much of that mommy guilt. It's us. It's definitely us. It is not them. And you have to find your balance, but don't beat yourself up, because it don't mean you're a bad mom. You're better than half of them out there, because you got some who will sit right there and say, hey, I want to be president, and can't do a damn thing for them. Don't you ever. Don't you ever.
I definitely agree with that, because I lost a lot of time with Jamar, and even though I got him at 4, it was one of those things, missing basketball games and those type of stuff, and it was because I had to work late and those things. So when you say create memories, a lot of people laugh at me and they're like, oh my God, the smallest things mean something to you. Oh my God, everything is sentimental. It is.
You're so weird, man.
I
appreciate you for
it. I absolutely do, because you know what? My daughter is just like me. And it's crazy because my son hit me up and go, Mom, I know you got this picture. Can you send it to me? And I'm like, got you. Because if I'm not there, I got memories to go back to. So when I'm at home, Janae likes to get my phone and she likes to be in the mirror and taking pictures. And I love it because she, as you said, I like the candid photos. That is Janae. She is all about the candid. And her brother is taking them together. I enjoy that because that's memories for me. Even if it's at home in pajamas, it's memories.
And I always joke about it. It's not, it's kind of a joke. But if my house would catch on fire, they give me my picture. That's like it's what I want. I can see my phone right now got 27,000.
Girl, you say. Because it's gonna be a day where somebody ain't gonna remember something. Somebody's gonna leave this earth, and I need something to go back to. Like, oh snap, we did such and such and such and such. Because honestly, let's be honest. Even this trip, there's gonna be one of us at some point is gonna have to go back and look at those pictures because we're gonna be in a space to be like, man, this is when I really was breathing real good right here. Yes, like that one. So I choose to create memories with my kids because I don't have anyone. The memories that I had as a child wasn't that great. So I choose to create memories for my kids because I want my kids to grow up and say, yes, mommy worked, went to school, ran a business, stayed in my office, was on 2 phones at some point. But I made time, even if it was just cooking in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? If I came home late from work, we have this rule in our house with Janae. Janae knows the rule. When you come in, how was your day? Kids, you not, I don't care what time we come in, how was your day? Like when I get home, Janae is gonna ask, Mommy, how was your trip? I want to know how every day went. And I'm gonna say, this is how every day went. This is how this day, because she wants to know. Because guess what? She remembers. Because she would bring back something. Maybe you said you was having an issue at work. Are you okay now? And I love that because I need someone to hold me accountable. And it may sound crazy, but I have a whole 8-year-old that has no problem holding me and her dad accountable.
And what people have to also, like, as mothers, I say, have to realize is that everybody's parent different. Like, you may be looking at this parent like she doing good, but everybody's different. And then everybody's different, parenting.
And we all, there's no manual to it. We all trying to figure it out. And every kid is different. I don't care who. That part. Every parent is different. Parenting don't come with a manual.
Like I said about my one in college, so you're gonna be finding this out soon too. I thought that when it gonna kind of slow up. No, that's when it just beginning. So you better get a it just beginning.
You gonna be like, wait, college, hold on, wait.
Okay, I got one to get ready to get out of here. Like it's gonna get easier, but
no. But Jamar still calls.
They want more. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you ladies.
Can literally sit here all night.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are flipping awesome. And thank you to everyone who's been listening.
Y'all still there? Y'all ain't sleep yet.
Yes, we are recording, Beth.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys for being thank you for listening to our raw conversation. You guys know we be raw anyway. Thank you for the raw conversation, sharing the tears with us. I would definitely say this has been a beautiful trip. And as we go get ready to fly out, remember you guys, what I always say that, you know, we live fearlessly, we love, and the biggest thing is just to have a whole lot of faith. Catch us on IamShatoria.com. As Daphne said, if you miss I Am Shatoria Retreat this past October, get ready for September. We'll be announcing key speakers here really soon. So get ready to get your tickets as tickets are actually selling. And it will be in Oklahoma City, September 30th. So be ready. Thank you guys for your time. We love you. And we talk to you.
Bye.
I'm going to talk to him. All right, man.